The views and opinions expressed by the guests, callers, and hosts on this and all Rense Radio Network programs do not necessarily reflect or agree with those of the network, its commercial sponsors, its radio station affiliates, or internet broadcast platforms. In these controversial times, we believe the First Amendment and freedom of the press are absolutely essential to the survival of our nation. Thank you. And now, enjoy the program.
Okay, welcome back. It is 9/11 of 2014. Lots and lots of essays and articles and opinions, op-eds have been offered up on this 13th anniversary, if that's the right word, of the September 11th attack on America by America, or what purports to represent itself to be America, i.e. various parts of our government. There are a number of things to be said about the quality of writing. I think it's generally very good. Most of the writers that I publish and post get it. I don't even want to go into the mainstream media and hear what they have to say about it. They're probably still talking about box cutters and Arabs and so forth. But tonight we get to spend our first hour with Gerald Celente, the master of trends, a man who has watched this country go through its death spin, its spiral into oblivion, probably more acutely and closely than anyone else I know. And I want to welcome him, and then I'm going to read just a little bit to you, then we're going to get to our conversation. Hello, my friend. How are you?
Oh, thank you, Jeff. Thanks for having me on. How am I? I'm very sad.
Yeah.
I was crying a lot today, actually.
Yeah, understood. Absolutely understood.
And what made me cry was listening to a Joan Baez song. Uh-huh. Johnny, We Hardly Knew You.
Oh, yeah.
And an old, Irish tune.
Yeah.
And when you hear her sing and you listen to the words, it's so sad, and it just keeps repeating itself. And your legs are gone, you're blind, your arms, on and on.
Yeah.
And always under the guise that you're doing something great to protect us, Johnny. And in reality, a bunch of psychopaths and sociopaths are sending the people to slaughter. Next
to organized religion, human religion, probably the biggest lie of all, that one. Going off to save the world.
I have to tell you, after watching Obama's speech last night,
you're tougher than I am.
And I have to.
I
have to get the tempo, and
of course,
I want to feel what the emotion was and how it was presented.
Yeah.
What the prostitutes are saying about it.
Yeah, all carefully crafted stuff.
Yep. Yeah. And each night, as part of the subscription to the TrendsJournal, I do Trends in the News. Mm-hmm. And I ended it with that Joan Baez song.
That's
and as
nice.
I'm listening to the song, I have to tell you, I started crying. And I am so sad that we learn absolutely nothing from war, and the slaughter continues. And it just keeps building and building and building, and psychopaths make excuses as to why it's okay to kill other people. And nothing has really changed. And now we're at a critical point where the next war will be the one that Einstein had forecast. He said, I don't know how the Third World War will be fought, but the fourth will be fought with sticks and stones.
He's right on the money. This day, 9/11, again, the subject of an awful lot of writing and thought. Let me read just a few paragraphs. Michael Hoffman wrote this. He's a very fine writer, has his own opinions of things, of course, but he wrote, today is the 13th anniversary of the U.S. government's attack on its own people at the Pentagon and the World Trade Center in New York City. In November, we will observe the 51st anniversary of the assassination of President John F. Kennedy by the CIA in cooperation with the U.S. Secret Service that was sworn to protect him. The U.S. was never the same after the killing of our president. The people were transformed, as was the nation. The same is rightly said of September 11th, 2001. It was a landmark in the systemic psychological warfare inflicted on the American people. What is the message of successful conspiracies like these? First, that those responsible for investigating the criminal conspiracy, the top cops, judges, lawmakers, and journalists, neglected to do so. They chose their careers and creature comforts over bringing traitors to justice. I like that. Simple, but true.
Yep.
Now
and
we
it's
have
been going on. Yeah.
We have another thing. Oh God! Again, the volumes. Look at the mileage. The conspirators, the evil ones, beyond description, evil, got out of killing 2,700 plus Americans and demolishing in broad daylight 2 condemned high-rise buildings in New York City, which paid Larry Silverstein, $4.5 billion he got for it. This has so many layers and levels to it. The day before, folks, remember what happened the day before the Pentagon? Who made the announcement? The comptroller of the Pentagon. That how much was missing, Gerald? To $2.5 trillion? Something. Some enormous amount. Zackheim. Enormous amount of money went missing. And that was announced the day before 9/11, on the 10th. So we have problems in this country. And I looked today, I was out for a bit, and there were some kids, middle school kids, I don't know what you call it back there, in 7th, 8th, and 9th grade, 13 years old. They're no longer in elementary school. And you know, a lot of them are doing drugs, let's be honest, having sex. They weren't even born on 9/11. They were born after. In another few years, they'll be 20, 21. It won't take long. And we'll have a whole generation of people who were born after September 11th. And they'll never understand. They'll never feel what you just so eloquently described. And they'll be lining up and signing up, and this cabal of non-humans will be sending our boys and girls, our teenagers, off to kill other boys and girls, moms and dads, somewhere around the world. There'll always be a venue. We'll never stop. It's all about money. It's all about greed. It's all about evil. And it won't stop.
Well, I think it will stop.
I hope you're right, my friend.
No, it'll stop if we don't stop it, because, as I said, this will be the war that Einstein predicted. It'll be a war of weapons of mass destruction. It'll be a nuclear war. It'll be a war of biological warfare.
Oh, for
It'll
sure.
be a war of hell.
It'll be a war of extermination.
War of mass destruction.
Yeah.
And that's what people can't get in their head.
No, they can't. It is, the next war will be, An extermination event.
Exactly. So that's why I'm saying to you, no, it won't keep going. You phrased it the best I've heard yet. An extermination event. Here we are at the 100th anniversary of World War I. A war that destroyed civilization as it was just beginning to flourish throughout Europe. A war that created the foundation for World War II, and it has also created the foundation for World War III. World War I, World War II, 3 strikes, you're out. What did they do? The colonial imperialists from Europe invaded the Middle East and Africa. They overthrew the Ottoman Empire. Following World War I, the Sykes-Picot, 2 bureaucrats, a Frenchman and a Brit, drew up these countries and created them that never existed before. Syria, Jordan, Lebanon, Iraq, one after another. A bunch of arrogant little boys and girls from other countries, colonists, drew a map of the Middle East.
It's like a board game.
And it created, and not only that, it created the foundation, World War I, when Woodrow Wilson, the great trader of America, who brought us the Federal Reserve in World War I, a slimy Princeton piece of crap. If you want to know 6 words that have destroyed America, Jeff, it's Harvard, Princeton, Yale, bullets, bombs, and banks. A bunch of guys and women with bad attitudes who think they're better than the rest of us. And the piece of slime called Woodrow Wilson, he laid the foundation of the destruction of America with the creation of the Federal Reserve System and World War I. He is the man that destroyed this nation more than anyone. Another Princeton piece of slime. I've had it with these Ivy League guys. These little boys. These little women who talk tough and don't have a pair of cojones among them. Little guys like Kerry, always shooting his mouth off. A little wanker like Bill Clinton, Slick Willie, one after another.
An adult.
These are the people that have destroyed America. So go back to World War I.
Yeah.
And what did they do?
Yeah.
They destroyed the world. They set the stage for today. They cut it up. They set the stage for Nazi Germany. They destroyed Russia with the Bolshevik Revolution because Woodrow Wilson took us to war. A war that was ready to end. Countries had gone bankrupt. They were ready to call a truce. Madmen started it, and Wilson made it worse. And FDR ratcheted it up again.
Thank you.
And then George W. Oh, I forgot about Lyndon Johnson.
Yeah.
I forgot about slimy Nixon. I forgot about Bill Clinton with Yugoslavia and Bosnia. I forgot about George Bush with Afghanistan and Iraq. I forgot about the Nobel Peace Prize winner, Obama, with destroying Libya.
Oh, yeah.
Another, what was he, a Yale? He was a Harvard man. A Harvard man. I've had it with these guys.
Yeah, he just declared unending open-ended war again on what's left of the Middle East. I guess you watched him last night.
I have had it with these Ivy League jerks. They're disgusting little human beings. They're born on third base, and they thought they hit a triple. Their way has been paid for them. They're a bunch of arrogant guys that can't fight their way out of a paper bag.
And wouldn't even try. No, they'll send other people.
No, but they'll get you killed.
Oh, of course. They'll send off as many as they need to. When you watch, again, you have to do this because you're a professional, but you watch Obama reading his scripted lines, trying to act sincere and as if he's really involved in all this, thinking out of the back of his head about getting on the golf course tomorrow. If you could get your hands around that guy's neck, I guess we shouldn't talk like this on the radio. But
he was totally empty. Yeah. He bombed. He bombed.
Did he?
Obama, people say he's from Kenya. I think this guy's from like Zorak or something. Some outer space joint. They put him down here, man. This cat was totally of another world. He was not there. He was not there last night.
He was on the golf course.
I watched it closely, and I heard all the build-up from the prostitutes, how this was going to be Obama's most important speech of his,
cutting edge in his presidency. Yeah. Oh, now this is interesting. Now, I'm wondering if he just really doesn't give a good goddamn, or he was on some kind of meds, or...
They're all on meds. I want to see drug tests for all our congressmen and senators. We should demand it. We got to do drug tests for everything we do. I want to see what Pelosi is on. I want to see what that little guy Lindsey Graham is doing. I want to see McConnell and Boner. I want to see Little Reed. I want to see Teddy Cruz. Oh, what a disgusting human being that little lowlife is. And how about Marco Rubio?
Yeah.
These are the same people you hated in high school and college that wanted to be class president and head of the student council.
Absolutely.
The glad-handers, the insincere, the overly ambitious.
They had that phony crap-eating grin even in high school.
Yep.
Same. Haven't changed a bit. You nailed it. You got
Jeff, I am so concerned. I am heartbroken of where we're going. When you look at, as a trend forecaster, we make connections between different fields. I've been watching. I was a government affairs specialist for the chemical industry. I remember being in D.C. in '73 when the Arab oil embargo. All right, I'm there then with the top chemical companies. I've been around. What's happening now with oil prices? This is the first time in my entire career I've heard Saudi Arabia say to OPEC, let's cut production because prices are so low. You have now Brent crude at 17-month lows. Saudi Arabia can't pay its bills.
Oh, that's going to keep me awake tonight. $92.97 a barrel is the quote now. 92.
Yeah. Well, that's West Texas. But
that's
look at Brent. Brent should be, about 97, 98.
Let me take a look. Go ahead.
So now when Saudi Arabia, because the people that want to cut production are usually Iran, Venezuela, America's enemies.
Well, America's
Saudi
enemy,
Arabia,
if I might say, America's enemy, Venezuela, is only an enemy because it's sitting on 5 trillion barrels of ultimately recoverable oil. That makes Venezuela our enemy.
But they're the ones that are always saying, cut production, prices are going too low. This is the first time in my career Saudi Arabia has said cut production. Because it's not about hydrofracking. Yes, that's put more energy on the market. There is a slowdown worldwide.
Well, people can't afford to fill their tanks up like they used to.
You have in China, Jeff, you have 70 million plus luxury apartments that are empty.
Is it that high? Oh, my God.
Yes.
Wow.
You have in Japan. Japan. After all of this Abenomics flooding the market, Nikkei is back up to 6 months highs because of all this cheap dough going in. Their GDP is off 7.2%.
Wow.
Can you imagine if our GDP dropped 7.2%?
Yeah,
this is Japan. This isn't Yemen.
Yeah, they're going down.
All right. So what I'm saying to you is you have to put it all together if you want to see the future.
Brent Crude.
The future is war.
I absolutely agree. It looks more and more like it every hour. Brent Crude, as you heard Gerald say, has declined to, this is very important, has declined to its lowest level in more than 2 years. And the West Texas Intermediate to a 16-month low. So keep in mind what he has just told you. Those are key indicators. And I don't know what the Baltic Dry Index is, but I'm sure that's on its butt too.
So when all else fails, they take you to war.
Sure.
And just to put it into perspective, you get the TrendsJournal.
Mm-hmm.
I did a story in the summer edition. I broke out George Bush's speech on 9/11 and 9 days later when he addressed the nation.
Mm-hmm.
I began what I wrote. I said, only a madman would speak these words, and only people dumbstruck with fear would believe them. And believe they did. George Bush's popularity rating after being in office, less than 8 months,
mm-hmm.
was down to 51%. After 9/11, it skyrocketed to 90%.
I remember. I laughed.
Go over, look what's going on in Israel. Netanyahu.
He's been laying low for the last...
Popularity went up 25% since he launched the slaughter against the defenseless people in the world's largest prison called open-air prison called Gaza.
Yeah.
Obama's popularity rating will go through the roof if there is, quote, a terror strike against the United States. We're talking about 9/11. Look what he did last night on the eve of 9/11. He played the card.
They telegraph everything now. They don't hide anything. They put it right in our faces. We're being set up. You're right. Look at the ungodly pressure they're putting on Russia through this Ukraine gambit. NATO's, what do they got, 10,000 troops now on this spearhead force standing by, like 10,000 troops are going to do anything to Russia? I mean, come on.
Can you imagine?
No, it's laughable.
I know. But they can't beat a bunch of guys in Afghanistan.
No.
They lost in Iraq. Oh, yeah, they're going to beat the Russians.
With
Napoleon
10,000
couldn't do it. Hitler couldn't do it. Obama can.
Obama just wants to go back out on the golf course and meet up with Reggie Love on the 9th. Never mind. All right, hold on. We'll be right back with more. It's a great half hour with Gerald, and we'll continue after this. Okay, back with you folks. Thanks for being here. We always appreciate you wherever you are. All over Europe, we're on Hotbird. That's their #1 satellite. Europe doesn't have cable like we do. They have home dish for the most part. So welcome, as always, to all of our folks anywhere on this tattered and almost godforsaken planet. It's such a beautiful place, at least it was. Oil prices continue their nosedive. So said Carsten Fritsch, an analyst at Commerzbank AG in Frankfurt. OPEC already appears to be responding to the threat of oversupply. All the same, further cuts would need to be made by OPEC in order to balance the oil market. Whatever happened to that peak oil garbage, Gerald? Remember that one?
Me, I was one of the ones that said it wasn't peak oil because.
Yeah, I know.
Because I
Me
realized
too.
that there would be. You know that I said there would be new ways of finding more of it.
So much of it on this planet is absurd. Absurd. Everywhere the Russians drilled, even down to 40,000 feet, where there are no dinosaur bones, they still found oil. So, yeah, it's like the Earth's blood, in a way. The processes that make it go on at varying depths. But old, empty, dried-up oil fields have come back to full capacity, or nearly so. And it's constantly being made down there and forced up toward the surface, and it pools up in what we call oil fields. So there's no such thing as an oil shortage, period.
The point, though, here is demand is way off. The economy is way down.
Well, they've killed the middle class, which you pointed out so many times. That has a lot to do with it here.
You even look at today's numbers. The new claims for unemployment unexpectedly rose. Look at the numbers that came out in employment last week. They were expecting between 240 to 300,000 new jobs created. 142,000 came in. You need 150,000, 155,000 just to break even with new people coming into the workforce.
What kind of jobs would these be? What kind of jobs are they creating?
Well, that's it. You break down the jobs. They're in health, they're in education, and social services.
Yeah.
So they're non-productive jobs that we, the people, are paying for through our taxes and other burdens put upon us to keep a corrupt system floating. We're paying
for our own demise with money that doesn't exist now, never existed, and really never will exist. It's all BS. Ever since the Federal Reserve, 100 years ago last year was the anniversary of the death of this country. But keep in mind,
Woodrow Wilson,
Woody,
a Princeton man.
Yeah.
Don't forget, Harvard, Princeton, Yale, bullets, bombs, and banks. That's their business.
Thank you for mentioning that piece of crap. He hides out in history and nobody even notices. If you do your studying, folks, on the Federal Reserve, you'll find out that it was, yes, 1913 was the formal date, but the banksters, were planning this in the 1880s and 1890s. This thing was a real lock. They knew what they were doing, and that was just a formality. So,
well, stay on that, Jeff, because you made a point, and it's very important for everyone to understand that virtually every presidential campaign since the beginning of this country was whether or not to have a central bank.
Yes, absolutely.
And it was fought until that little piece of slime, Woodrow. I love these names that these important people have. Woodrow. What parent would name a kid Woodrow? I'll tell you what parent. The same kind of parent like R. Hunter. R. Hunter. Just take that name. What parent would name a kid R. Hunter? I'll tell you who. Another blowhard.
Yeah.
R. Hunter Biden. That's right. Little Joe Biden. Big mouth Biden. A guy, the hair transplant man that's probably, drank a couple too many. You know what his son is? R. Hunter Biden.
Oh, yeah.
R. Hunter Biden.
He's on the board.
Was appointed, to the board of directors of Burisma Energy, the largest energy company in the Ukraine.
Shocker. Shocker.
And you know who else?
Well, the gravy train makes lots of stops. Who else?
Well, John Kerry. That Frankenstein freak.
He is a Frankensteinian figure.
The man with a bad attitude who talks to us like he talks down to us, like we're one of the little people that work for him. Mm-hmm. Yes, Mr. Secretary. No, Mr. Secretary. By the way, I was the assistant to the Secretary of the New York State Senate.
Mm-hmm.
I saw grown men and women grovel, suck up, and bow down so they could move their way up. So I know where these guys come from.
Sure.
The reason they're so arrogant is because they got a bunch of lowlives around them that shine their shoes and pull out their chair, and they would wipe their behind if they could get in the toilet with them, which they probably do.
Yeah, they probably do.
Now, going back to the other guy on Burisma Energy.
Yeah.
John Kerry's stepson.
Oh, well, all in the family. I didn't know that.
His name is Christopher Hines from the Hines fortune.
So we got a Biden and a Hines on the board.
No. It's Christopher's former roommate in college and business partner.
Okay.
Remember I told you get names like Woodrow
yes,
and
sir.
R. Hunter. His name is Devon Archer.
What?
That's right, Devon Archer.
Like D-E-V-O-N?
You can't make this crap up.
D-E-V-O-N?
Yep. Look it up. Devon Archer, Burisma Energy, another little low-life piece of crap selling out America on the board of Burisma Energy, the largest energy company in Ukraine. Don't get upset. Be polite. Learn how to speak in nice language so you can work your way through the system as well.
And don't forget to buy Poroshenko's chocolates while you're at it. Or listen to... You know when you look at a picture of Porky and Ratzenuk...
Isn't it a perfect name for him?
Oh, God. Poroshenko.
Isn't it a great name? Originally... Yeah, you can't make it up.
No. And then you got Yatsenyuk. We always call him Ratzenyuk because he looks exactly like a rodent. Exactly like a rat.
And none of these guys are men. Not one of them.
No.
Not one of them.
Nope. You got that nailed. All you got to do is look at the picture. So you got Porky and the rat doing the bidding for the international gangster banksters who are running Ukraine. And it's enough to make you puke. And now Timoshenko is back in the news over there, calling for a referendum. I don't know. It's too much. They keep finding strange anomalies in the so-called investigation, the cover-up of the shooting down of MH17, the Malaysian airliner. They found strange materials now and what remnants of the crew members they could find. I can tell you what they are. They're 30 caliber machine guns, large cannons that were used to take. They shredded that plane is what happened. That's what the Dutch report won't say.
You could go back to Malaysia Press. It's called the Straits Times.
Yeah, the Straits Times. Mm-hmm.
Right. And they did a report saying that Ukrainian SU whatever something jet
25s.
Right. Shot it out of the air.
They shredded it. Exactly. Yep. All right, hold on a second. We'll take a little break. We'll come right back. Okay, let's get right back to our conversation with Gerald. On this September 11th, the year 2014, one of the only interesting things, and it really troubles me because elections are rigged all the time, is the genuine feeling among the Scots people that they want out. They want to do their own thing. And they've got a great history, and the yes vote is now barely ahead. What does that tell you, folks? Whenever you hear, as I've said 1,000 times over the years, whenever you hear a poll where it's 51-49, guess what's going to happen? Doesn't even have to be that close. Chances are the no vote will win, even though nobody's proclaiming they're going to vote no. All the Scots want out. They're sitting on $1 trillion worth of oil and gas, which BP wants. And when the Queen says, I'm staying out of this, I'm not going to get involved, that means she's already instructed her lackeys. This David Cameron is a a real piece of work, that guy.
Well, I tell you, that guy, whatever happened to him at Eton, man.
Yeah, well, you can guess.
I don't know what guy took him down, boy, but he hasn't gotten over it.
No, he sure hadn't. He was weeping yesterday, nearly weeping. These people, their career, what they are is they're career actors. They're not, I don't even call them politicians anymore, Gerald. They're just actors.
Politics is show business.
That's what it is.
People.
That's look at the monster. Dr. Frankenstein's second greatest. He couldn't have created anything better than John Kerry. The facelift. Facelift didn't work. The facelift gave him that look of death.
There was another one before him, Henry Paulson.
Oh God, yes.
You forgot about him, the guy that sold us Too Big to Fail.
Yeah.
The slimy little SOB that was the CEO of the Goldman Sachs gang.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a freak show, man. It's a horror show. One after another. Look at them. Look at their faces. Listen to their words. By their deeds you shall know them. When are people going to wake up? You're obviously the people that listen to this show, they're awake. The people that subscribe to the Trends Journal. And by the way, the Trends Journal, we're now doing, Jeff, a Trends Monthly.
I think that's wonderful. That's very, very welcome. I think it's great.
And each night I do Trends in the News.
Yeah.
The real news. So I love Obama's line. All you folks out there,
Yeah, he's down home. One of the guys.
Could you say folk you? I think that's okay, right?
Pretty close.
Folk you.
Pretty close.
That would pass the census.
That's right.
Yeah, folk you.
Yep.
But all you folks out there that want to keep supporting the truth, do what you can to support Jeff Rense, the sponsors, because they're people that are putting products out there that are only going to improve your health and the health of the planet. And do what you can to help us also with the Trends Journal. We have an international subscription base that keeps expanding beyond what we've ever imagined. So the more the word gets out, the better our chances of survival. So do a little what you can do. We have a discount request page. If you can't afford the full price, tell us what you could afford, and we'll do our best to meet it.
Now, name one other publication in the world that does what Gerald just said, folks. You can't. Not that I know. I've never heard of anything like that. They want people to have an equal chance to be informed. If you have a thirst for reality, I don't even call it the truth anymore, reality. The Trends Journal is as good as it's going to get. It just isn't going to get any better. Now, tell us a little bit more about the monthly.
What we're doing with the monthly is that, well, first of all, the quarterly, you see it. It's 50 pages.
Fabulous.
Color,
That's it.
It's what quality
Time
paper.
Magazine might have been.
Yep. And the monthly is we're bridging the gap. We're talking about other major trends that are happening in between the quarter.
Mm-hmm.
So we're putting that out as well. I just wrote a note recently, just today. Somebody commented that people say to me, Mr. Celente, you say what the problems are. What are the solutions? And this is what I wrote. I said, as for what we should do to stop the path to hell that our, quote, leaders are taking us on, use your imagination. Delve deep within your spirit. Find your courage, dignity, self-respect, and passion to find a solution. The future is in your hands. We're also, Jeff, we just had a conference here. We're having conferences 4 times a year.
How'd that go?
Well, you could go to our website, TrendsJournal.com, look at the conference, look at the photos. We had the meetings in the Academy. I mean, the Academy, this is the 1774 Academy. This is where Governor DeWitt Clinton went to school. This is where some of the most famous people in the United States.
There's another great name. DeWitt.
And so we had the meetings there. We had a beautiful reception in the 1750s Franz Rogan Garden.
Oh, my.
People came from Australia. They came from Japan. They came from Switzerland. They came from all over the world. The photos are there. And we're having another one. So what we're doing is we're really trying to create the movement where people take the future into their own hands. And one of the things that I talked about at the meeting was Theodore Herzl. This is the father of Zionism.
Yeah.
And I said, love him, hate him, agree, disagree. It's not the issue. One man is known as the father of Zionism. One man, one woman. It's up to you. You have the answers. You know the solutions. It takes work and courage and passion and dignity and self-respect and courage. And that's what's going to change the future.
Well, that's our only hope. Self-discipline. Very few people are able to draw the line and put themselves in a performance protocol anymore. That's not what's being taught to the masses.
And it
feels good.
A nanny state. Exactly.
There you go. Yeah. I'm looking at the pictures, by the way, of the conference, and
aren't they great?
I can't even imagine. I wish I could have come to be in historic Kingston and being in structures like these. This is really at the heart of this country's greatness, where you've got it. You're right in it. And by the way,
the only reason I did it, I'm not a real estate guy. I want to see the Second American Revolution. I want to bring this nation back to the founding fathers, what they believed in. I believe in Washington. I believe in Jefferson. I believe in Madison, Adams, and Franklin. I believe in no foreign entanglements. I bought these buildings, Jeff. I want to see the Second American Revolution. I want to see a revolution of courage, of dignity, of respect and passion and self-respect, and a moral, intellectual, and spiritual revolution. And I don't mean spiritual in the, in the new age or religious sense.
Understood.
I mean in the human spirit.
Pride of self, truly, that's where this country, this society has ego. It doesn't have pride of self and values and consciousness. And by the way, that is an awesome-looking jacket and shirt you have on there.
Thank you. and as you can see, the people, there's this one fella from Japan, right? This young guy, this is the first time he left Japan.
Wow.
And he came to Kingston, New York.
There's
another guy, you'll see him from Australia. Another fella, and you see the Mohegan where our offices are, and the set that we use when we do Trends in the News when I'm on the air.
Yeah.
And you see the academy where the people are sitting. This is America. And, oh, by the way, just to give you a little history here, I am looking right now as we are speaking at the Kingston Courthouse. Do you know who was a juror there? John Jay. Four Supreme Court justices came from this courthouse. 90% of the Constitution was written from the New York State Constitution. This was the first capital of New York State.
I didn't know that. That's a fascinating detail. That was what they modeled it on. How interesting.
90% of our Constitution that is now being destroyed by Obama, by Bush, by Clinton, by Bush 1, by Johnson, by Nixon. 90% of that Constitution and 4 Supreme Court justices, including John Jay, were. And I'll tell you how I learned this. I got called up for jury duty. So I go for jury duty, and this guy shows up, Paul O'Neill, the commissioner of jurors. He goes, you know where you're sitting? And he starts telling the story. He said, you see that painting over there? That's John Jay. And he kept going on and on. We have the 1777 Senate House here. It's the oldest open public building in the United States.
Keep buying, Gerald.
Well, no. Well, I am actually. I put a bid in for the Sione building that I want to create into a place where I want to be able to bring more people here. My only interest is the love of America. I am an American. I believe in the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. I believe in the Founding Fathers. And I love being an Italian, but I could never be me if I wasn't born in America.
Well, it doesn't get any more beautifully said than that. John Jay, former Chief Justice. Wow. Yeah. You keep at it, my friend. Thank you for taking time to be with us again, and I'll talk to you next month. Thanks, Gerald.
Oh, thank you.
You be well. Okay, Gerald Celente, the TrendsJournal, and it truly is what Time Magazine might have been. No ad. You won't see one ad in it. Just wisdom. Be right back. 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 Be right back.